Hello, thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to do another anime that I watched video here. I said I was going to do these a little more frequently because, I tend to get like maybe 6 shows or series that I've watched, and then it's just too much, and I talk for 40 minutes or something. So this time I just have 3. I'm going to go in chronological order here. So, I've been doing good watching shows here. I'll have a little story at the end for you. But I watched the rest of Street Fighter 2 V. So I watched volumes 3 and 4 of this, and this was pretty interesting. It's a whole 26 episode series that they crammed onto 4 discs. Now they did that. Well, actually, I can't think of anything else recently that I've seen them do that with. This last disc had 8 episodes on it, which for a DVD is quite a lot. I know they had to compress this probably more than most DVD shows, and it kind of came through. I did notice it was a little grainy here and there, but honestly it wasn't bad. So yeah, the last disc was a lot of episodes, and this is a series that started off really strong for me. I like Street Fighter, just like the characters and stuff. I think they've kind of stood the test of time, despite the fact that I don't play the fighting game that much anymore, and I think it's just a little too hardcore for me. They're cool characters, so just getting to see them sort of set up in this framework of a story and animated and stuff. I didn't expect much from this series, and I really liked it to start off with. It was just so much fun. You were kind of following Ken and Ryu. They're just training. They're kind of kids, and they've been training together all their lives basically, and they decide to travel the world, and they're gonna study martial arts, and it's fun. They run into a whole bunch of cast of characters from the series, and they were really building this whole story around it that I thought was fun. Now you get into these last couple volumes, especially volume 3. It kind of settles into this plot where you have, M. Bison, as he's called in the U.S. version, comes in as the main bad guy, and he sort of starts pulling the strings. He sets his eye on Ken and Ryu, and they start in with what I'll call the story arc for the last half of the series, and unfortunately, it gets, what I'm going to call really bad in Volume 3. What was, kind of fun and enjoyable becomes just tedious and slow and boring, and nothing happens. It really feels to me like they had, story written out for 15 episodes or so, 16 or something, and then this ended up being a 26 episode series, and you feel it. They reuse animation. They do a recap episode, which I guess in its defense I think was only about half of the episode was recap and then half of it was new stuff, but really, with some forewarning, I would say you could probably just watch that recap episode and save yourself the bother of having watched this entire thing, and you would really get just about as much out of it, and it's too bad. It was really like pulling teeth for me to keep going through the series, but once you get into the 4th volume, I felt like things actually picked up a little bit. It didn't really redeem just how much of a nosedive this series took, but it doesn't really feel like it's the fault of the writers or the animators or something. Really, it just feels like they ran out of budget, or they had to fill a quota, or just it feels like some sort of production issue more than it does like the talent of the people involved in this. Once you get to the last few episodes on here, it's kind of fun. They actually start, some things start happening. It stops being completely boring, and you get some fights resolved, you start having more characters are coming in, and all of a sudden, a bunch of stuff is going on, and it's pretty cool again. So, really, overall, this is, not a deep series. It's just an excuse to have some Street Fighter characters kind of get together and come up with some kind of story around them all, interacting and having some battles. But as far as that goes, this is easily the best thing that I've seen Street Fighter related. Now, I've really only seen the bad live action movie from the 90s. I think I saw the animated movie back then. Really foggy memories on that, so that probably doesn't even really count, but I seem to remember thinking it was a little meh back then. This surprised me and was fun. In a previous video, I likened it to the tone of a Saturday morning cartoon, just sort of amped up in that anime way, where it's actually really violent and edgy, but it still kind of has that. On this episode of Street Fighter V, and it kind of follows like the same sort of conventions somehow. It was really enjoyable up to Volume 3, and it really faltered then. The next one that I watched is something I talked about in a previous pickup video. This is Wrath of the Ninja, the Yotoden Saga, the complete Yotoden Saga. So the cool thing about this is it has 2 discs in it, and one, as far as I know, is the kind of the movie version, which seems to be like culled or sort of pulled together from like footage from the OAV series, and it has the original OAV series kind of, I think, for the first time released in the West that we've really been able to see. So I watched the OAV series first, and then I just kind of skimmed the movie version to try to figure out what the differences were, which probably wasn't the best way to do it, because it's a little hard. It's harder to pick out what's missing from something than it is to notice new footage. So probably I should have watched the movie and then watched the OAV series. But at any rate, this was rather good. It's older. I don't know if it says on here. I'm pretty sure this is from the 80s, though. And it was. I didn't expect a lot from this, and I guess if you're going into this, you probably shouldn't expect too much from this, but I found it to just be really competent, and it was interesting. The main character is basically this female ninja here. We're talking there's sort of 3 main ninja clans that basically get wiped out. This is goes a little bit historical, so you sort of go back to the Warring States period, and like Oda Nobunaga is kind of the main villain in this, which I think that's been sort of well-tread territory as far as anime goes. But this one is interesting. Like, it has that kind of demonic aspect to it that I think stuff in the 80s really kind of did. Somehow this did remind me of stuff like I don't know, almost like Uritsuki Doji, or like that kind of Wicked City Ninja Scroll kind of stuff. Maybe like less edgy than that, certainly. It's definitely violent, but I really found it to be like reasonably well written, I guess, for what it is. I mean, it's not. I don't want to talk it up too much. But I kind of finished watching it, and I was like, that was really rather good in a way. It reminded me of things that are arguably better than it, like Ninja Scroll and Basilisk and that kind of thing. But I think the strength of this, one of the things I really liked about it is this main character. She actually displays a lot of weakness in the series. But she displays a lot of strength too, and I think the overwhelming strength of her character is that even when she she kind of has these weak moments in the series, like it never stops her. Like, she's never a weak character. Like any opportunity, like the opportunity comes up, and then she's just moving on to the next thing. She's actually a really impressive character in this, and I think it stands in stark contrast to things like Ninja Scroll, where I think that female character in it. I mean, Ninja Scroll is great, and it's fun to watch, and it's classic, really. But this, I think, is worth watching. Just like for that character, I think it's really a better It's really one of the best portrayals I've seen of sort of a confident, like comfortably flawed main character. It was interesting. It was pretty good. And not only that, but I also thought that the ending was sort of refreshingly not really cliched and predictable. I mean, it wasn't anything groundbreaking. But it was, again, it was just kind of like better than I was expecting. So I kind of liked this. I guess this goes in the category of, something I didn't have high expectations for that understandably exceeded my understandably low expectations to start off with. But it was really pretty good. So that got me wanting to watch more ninja stuff, and I guess this isn't technically ninja, but that kind of thing. So I ended up grabbing Afro Samurai off my shelf, Afro Samurai Resurrection. I just finished watching this, and this is excellent. If you guys have not seen Afro Samurai before, I really recommend the original series. This is a movie. Again, I'm not really super familiar with the production details of this, but I don't know. I mean, if you've been like avoiding Afro Samurai for any reason, I can't say that like I was drawn to it, because of the music or anything like that. I don't even really know who the RZA is, but the music is good, and just the story is good, and the animation is good, and everything. Like the world is good, like the character is good. It's really excellent. And I guess what I would say to set your expectations properly is, don't expect anything outside of the genre conventions for this. We're still talking that same kind of stuff, the Wrath of the Ninja, Ninja Scroll, Blade of the Immortal, that kind of stuff. This is right in there with it, but I would say it's kind of a shining example of really one of the best of breed of those kind of things. If you just like revenge, sort of violent, bloody, blood-covered sword revenge stories, this is where you want to go. Afro Samurai is really good. I definitely enjoyed this, and they just have the great setup for this is how you have two bandanas. So there's the number 1 bandana and the number 2 bandana. Now, the person with the number 1 bandana is, basically, I guess, arguably the best. And they can only be challenged by someone with the number 2 bandana. But anyone can challenge the person with the number 2 bandana for the right to challenge the person with the number 1 bandana. So, it's kind of one of those, like Highlander, there can be only one sort of things, I guess. But if you have that number 2 bandana, like, you are either going to die or become a complete badass in the pursuit of trying to kill the person with the number 1 bandana. So of course Afro Samurai has the number 2 bandana, and it's just a straight up revenge story about his father and stuff. This one follows up on the first one, and brings back some characters. It does again a really good job of kind of just working with the material that it has and coming up with another really interesting kind of revenge twist story to it, and it's good. This was completely enjoyable to watch, so I really liked it. Another thing that I like about it is it reminds me of kind of it's an interesting mix of kind of traditional Japan style, sort of feudal Japan, and like cybernetic technology and that sort of thing. It honestly reminds me of Battle Angel quite a lot, even especially the manga. The characters and everything that are in it seem very inspired and very similar to the world in Battle Angel. I would go as far as to say if you like Gundam, if you like Battle Angel, specifically you may want to check out Afro Samurai. Maybe don't expect the same kind of science fiction trappings and that sort of thing, but I feel like the two universes are kind of they're sort of sympathetic to each other. So that is my my video anime that I watched recently. I guess my slightly funny story. is that I feel like I've been doing such a good job watching shows. Every night I've just been picking something or, following up with a series that I've been watching. And I got to the point where I'd caught up, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch a few more shows so that I can buy some more. I'm doing my need to watch 2 before I buy 1 rule. And I noticed that Cat's Eye is available for pre-order, and it's coming out July 1st. So I felt kind of rushed all of a sudden. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should just pre-order this right now, because I kind of want to pre-order it just so I get it right when it's coming out. I don't even know why. I just wanted to. So I put in my pre-order, but I'm like, oh, I want to get free shipping, and you have to have X number of dollars. So I'm like, well, I'll just toss something else in. So I was poking around, and I ended up getting well, I'll leave that for a pickup video. You guys will see it. So I ended up tossing something else in there and ordered it, and then I realized I just broke my rule because I just ordered 2 things, and just watching this has brought me up so that I could have ordered 1 thing. So now I need to watch 2 more things so that I can justify having bought just 1 other thing. So I mean, those will probably come in the mail like mid next week. So I'm hoping that by then I'll have been able to watch easily 2 more things, and I'll be all caught up. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna keep doing this, and just letting you guys know what I'm watching. And I hope that you'll join me again for more anime-related videos and more video game stuff. I'm gonna have a lot more of that coming up soon. So thank you very much for watching.